My last book was published just days before the pandemic came in, and so all the poems in this new one have been written since, and naturally they reflect in many ways the changed world we find ourselves in because of the pandemic, Brexit, the war in Ukraine, the tragedy in the channel that we see on our screens every night, Twitter, the prevalence of mobiles, etc. It's a changed world. For all this, though, I think the poems in this book are very personal, and I try to distill everything through my own experiences. The first poem I'm going to read to you is, in fact, the title poem of this new book, Chagall's Moon. Chagall, of course, the famous Russian-born painter whose paintings are famous for the lovers that float in the sky, himself usually, and his first wife. Chagall's Moon. Such a welcome surprise, that sliver of a seemingly electric new moon hanging shyly between the rooftops and chimneys of the houses opposite. It had taken up its position early, and the sky and that balmy September evening were still a rich, unblemished blue. All it needed then to make it a perfect painting by Chagall were two young lovers floating beneath the radiant banana-shaped moon, a fiddler, a cow, and perhaps a hen. But this wasn't Russia or a shtetl scene. No snow on the ground, no terrifying sound of approaching Cossack horses, the lingering smell of dwellings burning, the screams. One by one, the lights in the neighbouring houses were springing to life. And next door, a television too, clearly visible through the windows of a ground floor room, a couple watching. It was time, our watches told us, for the evening news. In those anxious COVID days, we watched, we zoomed, so quickly turned from the innocent moon to enter our own door and resume our nightly encounter with the latest news and views. No horses, no Cossacks, no blazing houses, yet all around us, we knew an invisible killer flew. The next poem is, the second one I'm going to read is very different. It's called The Race. The others had quit the track. I had no choice. I had to step up now. It was like a fight. I grabbed the baton in my shaking hand and clutched it tight. I hadn't trained for this, and the race was tough, circuit after circuit on rough, uneven ground. A jeering crowd was cheering others on, and ruthless rivals tried to trip me as I ran. It had been like that since the moment I began. It seemed endless. Hurdles and streams to clear, a winding course to steer, and rising slopes that sucked the breath as the raging wind tore into the overhanging trees, nearly bringing me to my knees. I tried to preserve what energy I could. Though it wasn't yet in sight, I sensed the final lap couldn't be far away, and steeled myself for one last defiant dash, determined to get there, come what may. There would, I knew, be no winning post, just a finishing line. And once I reached it, I'd have to find the strength to raise the baton high for another to nervously clutch in his own reluctant hand, while thunder shook and lightning pierced the sky. No time for sentiment now, or tear. He'd know this was a race that could not be won by him or anyone. He'd also know his time had come. Thank you.